Oh, Merry early Christmas, everybody. Man, so Violent Night. Definitely suggest Violent Night for you guys this holiday season because, man, that movie was freaking awesome. Like, hands down, it is our generation's version of Die Hard. I mean, it stars Dan Arbor as Santa Claus, and he is honestly one of the coolest iterations of Santa we've had in a while. I mean, I can't think of like last year we had that Seth Rogen, Sarah Silverman, Jew Christmas bashing film Santa Inc. And I mean, so I'm not really looking at Seth Rogen as our Santa Claus. And then I did just watch last year that new, or it's an old movie, but to me it was new, with Leslie Nielsen as Santa, and that was awesome. I mean, I had never thought of Leslie Nielsen being Santa, and he was pretty awesome. But the best Santa I could easily say would be Santa in a lot of people's eyes is Tim Allen, from the Santa Claus, the original 1994 OG Santa Claus. Like, that's our Santa. And I know that they've made like 3 of those movies, and we have a new random Disney Plus show, The Santa Clauses. So random, 2-episode series event, but still, that is still like our the fan favorite Santa, I would assume. But man, seeing Dan Arbor don the cloak, the cloak and beard, man, he was awesome. He looked and played such a good 2022 Santa. The film starts out with him being so unsure of wanting to like continue Christmas and like continue giving presents because he feels that children are just greedy little shits. Like, he thinks that they just want nothing but money, video games, just random little material items that like maybe their parents actually, maybe that they couldn't afford or that they just don't deserve, right? And it's funny because the film does deal with Christmas magic, and he is delivering these gifts. So it is a really cool sense of wonder that this film portrays. But so he's at this bar in the beginning of the film, and he's pretty much talking about how he just doesn't care, and he's like, I'm just gonna like, no more Christmas is done, I think this will be my last year. And then so they, he jumps over to this family, the Lightstones, and pretty much they're this rich, it's exactly what he's saying, they're this rich ass family, they're all pompous, everyone there is just like the worst. They're having this big old lavish party, and they have all these like butlers there and all this staff, and then wouldn't you know it, all the staff and butlers end up turning around and being their hostage takers. They all like ended up planning and scheming this whole like elaborate plot to steal $300 million from the family because they have it in their like safe in the house or some shit. But it's just so random. Like, they literally, everyone takes over the house and then hostages up this family. So, and Santa ends up by chance going to that house to deliver presents, and it turns out that this young girl, the youngest daughter of the family, is actually not like that family. She's actually good-hearted. She just wants her parents to get back together. She's like super just grateful, cheery, joyful little black girl. She's just the best. And so since she's stuck in this hostage situation, prior to, her parents give her this like walkie-talkie, and they're like, oh, this is like a 2-way radio to Santa, and you can ask him for whatever you want because you didn't get to talk to him or write him this year because it's been hectic because of mommy and daddy's divorce. There's all kinds of like family drama in it that's going on throughout the movie, but like, it's not necessary to talk about. But so the little girl ends up getting in contact with Santa when he ends up coming to the house. Like, he ends up coming to the house, getting into some conversation with some of the hostages, and then ends up finding out that not only is one of the people there on the nice list, because a lot of the people aren't, they're all on the naughty list, and his scrolls that show the naughty and nice list are so cool. He just opens them up and it has like their name and the attributes of why they were naughty or nice. But since she's there and she's a young kid, he's like, all right, I'm gonna help you because like, I can't just let these guys kill you guys. These hostage dudes. And John Leguizamo, he plays the leader of the team, and he plays such a good character, like such a good villain. His code name is Scrooge. They all have like random Christmas themed code names for some reason. Like, one's gingerbread, one's like I feel like one's like eggnog or some random shit, and it's just, they just play such good comedic villains. It's got a very Home Alone vibe to it. Like, they do a lot of plays on Home Alone throughout the film where the villains are just really funny, cheesy, and the child does a lot of, she sets up a bunch of booby traps and stuff trying to like help Santa out. But yeah, it's a pretty wild movie. Like, I mean, the fact that they portray Santa as this Viking, Celtic, crazy Santa, like, he ends up having tats and stuff, and he's been in a war, and he had like a hammer as like his weapon of choice, and he ended up having to take the mantle of Christmas. I mean, there's a lot that goes on where you're just like, I would kind of be down for a Violent Night too, just to have an origin story of David Harbour's Santa, just to see him be a Viking and go through war, like make it super brutal 300 status, and then like end it with him taking on, like putting down the hammer, picking up the sack and taking on the mantle of Santa Claus and like accepting the magic to do the job or whatever. And like, it's just so interesting. Like the magic of Santa and Christmas interjects itself into the movie it's such a weird way that it makes you like think, like, you forget that like it's actually like magic. Like it's magic because it's like Christmas, but like obviously if you didn't believe in Christmas, you would be like, well, it's just happening as is. But the magic of how things happen are pretty funny. Like, I don't want to spoil a lot, but all the action scenes are great, all the fighting is great, and the ending is awesome. And John Leguizamo playing the main villain, he just fits it. He just totally fits it, literally trying to kill Santa Claus. And then Dan Abbott playing Santa Claus is awesome. In general, beating the shit out of people with a fucking sledgehammer, saying that this is what he used to do. And he misses it. It's so awesome. I had no expectations going into it. I just assumed it was going to be a crazy funny beat 'em up like movie, because I think it was like from the guys that wrote or produced Nobody or whatever. So I'm like, it's probably just going to be really awesome. But just the story and the lore and the buildup and the way that everything kind of happens is really cool. But there are definitely a lot of parts where you're like, this is some bullshit. There's no way. And then the fact that the strike team that comes in later, the fact that none of them get a shot off on Santa is also kind of like, ha ha ha, lol. But the movie was enjoyable enough to just kind of let that go. You know what I'm saying? But so yeah, check it out. Violent Night. I don't want to say anymore. You just got to watch it. It's totally worth watching, even if you wait for it to come out when it's not in theaters or whatever. Just totally suggest you watch it. It's got to be a favorite every year now for Christmas. I mean, it definitely will be for me, even if I just watch it in the beginning of the month. Like, I have to watch it. I'll definitely watch it next year. I mean, yeah, hands down. I would be down to see David Harbour in Hollywood somewhere at some event as Santa, to be able to see him as Santa and like, tell him like, hey man, you are our generation's Santa, man. That he definitely our generation's Die Hard film as well, because it actually involves Santa minus Bruce Willis. But Bruce Willis would probably make a good Santa too. Not writing him off of that, but anyway. So this has been Ghost in the Craig. Thank you so much for tuning in. Like, share, subscribe, and definitely, like I said, check out Violent Night. Guaranteed you'll enjoy it. Peace. Have a good rest of your night.